Okay, before we go fully into the lesson, hope you all can hear us clearly. Before we go all the way into the lesson here, let me turn this down a little. Um, we're going to go into what's going on in the Middle East, show you in chronological order where the destruction would come in the very end, leading to the deliverance of Israel all over the earth. I know some of you were looking at us going through a few things. I wanted to check something to make sure it was correct, but that is correct. The reason America chose Afghanistan to be in Afghanistan is deeper than just the poppy seed. Even though they're using that particular poppy seed and using it as some type of hallucinogen of heroin, understanding that that particular herb or that particular flower was an herb, and it wasn't supposed to be used for a drug or a condensed drug or hallucinogen, how Satan is using it. The poppy, well, that particular plant only grew in a certain area. And I'm going to go into that plant soon, one of these days, on what was happening in biblical times concerning it. It wasn't supposed to be turned into a drug. It was actually a natural flower to eat for specific purposes. But just like any herb out there that's used for meat, the body uses it for certain nourishments. And you have some flowers out there that were used to stimulate different parts of the brain to help nurture your brain for memory and all those things. But I'm going to go into that at a separate date. But the key point I wanted to bring out is that the area of Afghanistan was the area in which the 10 tribes, a lot of the 10 tribes were taken out in 2 Kings, the 17th chapter. So at the very end, Satan and his government would have stations all over the earth where the children of Israel migrated. And that's what they're doing in Afghanistan. That's the real reason they're there. It's because the majority of the people in Afghanistan are from the lost 10 tribes of Israel. And that's a lesson we're going to go into very soon also, in identifying who is Israel. See, the point of the matter is that at the very end, like I've mentioned many times before, is that the Roman Empire under Satan was looking to destroy the children of Israel. Because of Esau's war against Jacob. Most people don't know who Esau is. Esau is the European powers, like the British families and the Europeans who have not mixed their blood with other races. They are Romans, they're Edomites. Okay, and they have a war to exterminate the children of Israel throughout the four corners of the earth. But first, they must find that DNA code. They had to first identify the land masses in which Israel was dispersed. Then afterwards, they had to find that genetic code. They're looking for a specific code to totally exterminate. And they're in Afghanistan, knowing that the people of Afghanistan is from the lost tribes of Israel. Now, what I'm going into today is to show you in chronological order what America called the Arab Spring. How the European Roman nations or the British monarchy along with the United States went into the Middle East to cause these uprisings. To prove to you the Bible is correct, we're going to show you in chronological order where they went and what are their purpose. The purpose is actually to bring destruction or woes or plagues to these specific areas in gathering God's people. I've said it many times before. This is not a scenario in which Israel, the children of Israel, is going to be picked up into a cloud somewhere and placed into the wilderness to be saved. It's through the destructions and the woes that will push our people into the areas in which the Most High will have us, which is the wilderness at the very end. I also want to pinpoint, before I leave this lesson, I'm going to touch on the person or this guy named Pike, who came on our radio show this coming last Wednesday. And to show you how they deceive on every level in trying to hide the fact that the people of color are the children of Israel. And then after that, I'll open it up for questions for about 10-15 minutes. It won't be a long lesson at all. So let's begin. If you want to go, you can go eat your bowl there if you want to try it. It's in the kitchen, right? Yeah. All right. What letter is that? X? B. Yeah. All right. All right. Just trying to get them all together here so we don't have to pause here. Okay. Thank you for your patience. Let's begin. I need you to get Revelations 18. We're going to start there. Then I need you to go to Amos 9. I want you to hold Revelations 18. I want you to hold Amos 9. And I want you to hold Isaiah, the 13th chapter. All right? Let's start. Just hold those three. All right? You got it? Okay. You got it? Okay, and we're going into Esdras, the 16th chapter. Second Esdras in your Apocrypha, the 16th chapter. You have it?
Mm-hmm. So Revelations 18.
Now we're going to start in Esdras, and then we're going to go to Revelations 18. Show it in chronological order.
Second Esdras chapter 16, verse 1.
Go ahead.
Woe be unto thee, Babylon in Asia.
Woe unto thee, Babylon in Asia.
Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria.
Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria.
Gird up yourselves with cloths and sacks, and sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand.
For your destruction is at hand. What are we seeing here? We're seeing the spirit that's attacking in the Middle East, that's taking down each country of the Middle East. And you notice it says, woe unto Babylon in Asia. What was the original Babylon? The original Babylon was Iraq. Asia, you got Pakistan, remember? Now they're droning Pakistan right now. And it says, woe unto Egypt and Syria. So they went into northern Africa. They started destabilizing there. And now they are, or the powers that be, are in Syria. So we know it's the Western world that's attacking them. But the Most High put His Spirit on the Western world to come against them in the very end. Okay? Why? Eventually, the residue of these armies that are left will all band together. Like we read in Ezekiel the 38th and 39th chapter 2 weeks ago. But the uprising of what you call the Arab Spring is not the Arab Spring at all. It's the beginning of woes or destruction to these particular countries in the Middle East. Which is more proof that the Bible is 100% prophetically sound. You cannot go into the Quran, the Gita, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, none of them. All right, you cannot go into any of these books and get the true prophecies concerning today. All right, finish reading.
Verse 2. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand.
For your destruction is at hand. So the Most High is prophesying against all these countries. Why? At one point, they were all complicit. They were all together in agreement to destroy us. You cannot have slave ships coming to pick up a people and take them into another country to be sold without some level of complicity on that particular continent, in the Middle East, in Africa. Okay, read on.
Verse 3. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it?
Go ahead.
Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? May any man drive away an hungry lion in the wood? Or may anyone quench the fire in stubble when it hath begun to burn? May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer?
And it says, may one turn away the arrow that is shot of a strong archer. And as you know, the modern day arrow are the missiles, the bullets. Read.
Verse 8. The mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid?
So when you see these things happening in the earth, you know it was the will of the Creator. So this is how the Most High is getting all these nations to recognize the rise of the children of Israel and the fall of all empires. Now, how is the Most High being recognized in this? Think about it. If they're praying to a God and their God is not saving them, there's only, by process of elimination, there's only one God who can be allowing these things to happen. They're going to their gods. They're paying homage. They're dealing with the gods of their traditions and culture, but yet destruction is coming all through the Middle East. So where is Allah? Where is the Persian gods? It's the God of the Hebrews that's allowing these things to happen, and these plagues will be an end result of that. To show you, it's our God, the God of the Hebrews, who's allowing all these other nations to fall one by one. And then plagues are going to pop up. This is what happened in Egypt. They didn't just let us go in Egypt. Plagues had to come forth. Many things had to happen so that when they go to their gods and get no answer, they'll know it's the God of the Hebrews. Anytime you want to bring something.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, finish reading.
Verse 9. A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it?
Go ahead.
He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? The Most High Ahia shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence?
So the Most High says he's going to beat these nations to powder. Now, this is not a God you would hear of in the Christian church. All right? Yes, the Lord is love, but he's coming with wrath. You don't see no love in the earth right now. You see total takedown and destruction. It's our God allowing this to free the children of Israel. Now, what I'm going into, because a couple of weeks I went into the wilderness, now I'm going to go into how we will be delivered. Not no magic trick of the Most High snapping his fingers and you're disappearing and showing up in an area. Okay? We must go through these troubles that the Bible is speaking of. We must go through these wars to be saved. We must actually be in turmoil and see the hand of the Most High save us through this. That's the angels guiding us through, not us disappearing like they're teaching in the Christian church. And you have some Hebrews out there thinking that Christ is going to come with UFOs and pick them up and take them someplace. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Now, I've heard about that before, but that's not the way it's going to happen. We will see the armies bearing on us. We will see the destruction coming against us, the same as our forefathers who came out of Egypt. There was water on one side and there was Pharaoh bearing down on the other side. And after that, the presence of the Most High protected us. Okay? The invisible became visible. I'm going to show you this. I'm going to also show you today that we're going to walk over dry ground. We're going to walk through the Reed Sea or the Red Sea again. And the Most High is not going to smite it 12 ways like he did, like it says in the book of Jasher, where each tribe had a road through the waters. So it wasn't like you see on the Ten Commandments where the water split and we just walked in on one path. It tells you in Jasher that the water split 12 separate ways and each tribe walked through, because we were divided into tribes coming out of Egypt. Okay, there's no way you can get through the waters at the same time with one path. All right. Also, it tells you in the scriptures that this time in the wilderness, on our way to the wilderness, the Most High will smite the streams 7 ways, and we will walk on dry shod. So this time, the water's going to be split 7 ways. And we're going to walk over dry land into the wilderness for a time. It's going to happen again. But how we will get to those areas, we're looking at it now. The Most High first will break down the barriers through these wars that the Western world is doing against the Middle East. He will break down their barriers and their strongholds first, so that when the Israelites get through there and start escaping, then there's no strongholds or armies that can immediately come against us. Okay, so while we're looking at the Western world and looking at it from a geopolitical standpoint and saying, well, the Western world is doing this and they're always minding people business and they're bombing people, we have to realize that this is the will of the Most High, that these nations be taken down. Okay, you cannot receive an empire unless you're complicit against the children of Israel. So now the Most High, one by one, is taking down Babylon. Who's ancient Babylon? Iraq. You notice when he went over there, it was Iraq first. Look at the names here. Babylon, Asia. A lot of you don't know Pakistan. All those areas, that's Asia. Okay. Then you got Egypt. The Arab Spring came through Egypt. Mubarak was moved out of the way. The Muslim Brotherhood was put there, and the Muslim Brotherhood is not a political faction. It's an esoteric faction. When I say esoteric, understand what I mean by that. It's a Masonic order. It's a Masonic order under the White Brotherhood, under the Red Brotherhood. The Arabs have a top Masonic union that's set up over the Middle East. Okay? So they put over Egypt straight devil worshippers on the highest level. They call the Muslim Brotherhood. They're not against the Western world. They're praying to the same God as the Roman Empire. They're together. Okay? Now, why do we need to know this? Well, we have to know this because there's so many subplots to this. The political structure they're putting in place is to find out who we are amongst the whole earth. That's the last battle. When the New World Order come together, the all-seeing eye, who know exactly who we are and where we are, to look to destroy us all at the same time. That's the real agenda. So that's another subplot under this. While the Most High is taking down the strongholds of these other nations, Satan is setting up one empire to destroy God's people all at once. One political faction. Okay? It's not ironic that no sooner as they went into Libya, who caught the tough end of the stick on this one? Yeah, they got what's his name out of the way over there? Muammar Gaddafi. They got him out of the way. He was moved. But was it the Libyan people suffering? Or was it the black Africans over in Libya that were being caged and separated to be destroyed? See, they're showing you the agenda. They blotted out all media to tell you that it was really an ethnic cleansing in Libya. They were separating the Ishmaelites from the Israelites. Okay? So eventually this is going to happen all over the earth if you're not in an area that's predominantly the children of Israel. Okay? Now, some people might ask, well, what about South America and all those things? I'm going to go into that at a later date, but they're using weather warfare against our brothers and sisters over there. Big sinkholes are over in Brazil now. Earthquakes is all over the place. So they're using weather warfare to break them down. And eventually, the Most High is going to use these destructions to bring us all to a safe place. But we must go through the tribulation. Now, finish reading what you have in Ezra, the 16th chapter.
2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 12.
Go ahead.
The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof.
See that? Earthquakes in diverse places. Now, you might ask, what do this have to do with woe to Babylon and woe to Syria? He's showing you all the natural disasters that will be happening in the earth during the time of our deliverance. We're actually being delivered. So I really don't have a problem with seeing what's going on in the earth. I know that at the end of this, we get delivered. If they continue to break down strongholds and break down empires and things continue to crumble, by default, the children of Israel will get out of their ease position and start calling on their God. And the other nations will not be able to, they're not going to be able to build their empires again. So while the Most High is allowing these empires to fall, he's changing our mindset and moving us towards him. The whole time. We don't have an option now. If there's no country to serve, we have no option but to seek him. That's the only option. Finish reading.
The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof.
Go ahead.
The sea ariseth up with waves from the deep.
We know that a tsunami will be coming. This is what this is speaking of. Tsunamis. Now, of course, Satan is giving them the technology to make earthquakes and switch plates on their axis to cause big tsunamis. We know that Satan is giving the Roman Empire and the British rule and all them that technology. They think it's nation building and taking down and eugenics so that they can control the earth and depopulate the earth. And at the end, they control the earth. So when you look at it from a compartmentalized sense, they believe they're doing something positive in which they will benefit, but they're being used too. The Most High is going to destroy them. Read.
And the waves, it's the middle of verse 12. And the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also, before the Most High Ahia, and before the glory of his power. Verse 13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world.
To show you that it's the Most High's power behind the nuclear missiles that will be shot. We know the Western world is going to use them. We know that the other nations, they didn't make missiles not to use them. We know that Iran have a nuclear missile. We know that, and these things will be shot. But it's the Most High that's going to guide them. And it tell you that when these arrows are on their way to Babylon, he's going to make sure not one miss. Okay? And hey, Europe is making sure not one miss either. They have totally taken down the defense of America. There's no wall. There's no defense. They did that on purpose. Hold that. I'm going to show you they did that on purpose. Hold that. I'm talking about the EU, the European powers. Now they have utilized America. They don't need it no more. They are breaking it down. That's why it says Babylon the Great is fallen, is fallen. They're breaking it down so that now they can allow it to be burned with fire. Okay? They're doing all these things under the so-called banner of the American flag. Nation building, destruction, and killing others. And who's to blame? No one is blaming Europe for this. Who's the main culprit in all this that's being blamed in media? America. That's purpose. We know that Israel is the brain trust behind it, but you don't hear the whole world speaking just against Israel. They're using America as the main culprit for everything that's wrong with the world. And they're publicizing this to the world on purpose. So there's a PR sentiment against it to destroy it. The Bible tells you in Revelation 17 who's behind this on that level, on the political level. Let's read it about the 10 horns. Revelation 17, then I need you to go back to 2nd Esdras.
Revelations chapter 17, verse 9.
Go ahead.
And here is the mind which have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth.
And we know that was Rome.
And there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, and 1 is.
Go ahead.
And the other is not yet come.
And the other is not yet come. We know the other that was not yet come at that time was America. Read.
And when he cometh, he must continue a short space.
So when the new empire comes, and this is what John is seeing. He's seeing the empires that's established. Don't forget the Romans put him on the Isle of Patmos. And he's seeing an empire that didn't come yet. We know that empire by default is who? America. So what John is seeing on the Isle of Patmos, he's seeing a future empire that will not last as long as the prior empires. To show you, don't forget, America only been established for 200 some odd years. I'm talking about as a power. So you might think America been here forever. No, it's the new world. They just began to be a power. A couple of 100 years, that's it. So John seen this new empire and say that it would only last a short space. Read.
Verse 11. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7.
He is of the 7.
And goeth into perdition.
And goeth into perdition. So he's of the 7. Read.
Verse 12. And the 10 horns, which thou sawest, are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet.
Why? Because America received the power. Jumped right over the 10 horns. Rome became a power, and America was made out of France, Spain, and Great Britain. And now America has become the power. Not the 10 horns. The 10 horns get no credit here. Right? So what will the 10 horns do? Which is the EU, which is controlling the UN, NATO. What will they do now? Read.
But receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
1 hour with the beast, to show you that they will have an empire at the last hour. When Christ returns, America will not be the superpower. The 10 horns will. The EU. Read.
Verse 13. These have one mind.
These have one mind, one world order, one mind under Satan to do what?
And shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
Which is Satan. Read.
Verse 14. These shall make war with the Lamb.
And they shall make war. So it's not America that's going to fight against Christ like some people are teaching. It's going to be the EU. Europe will fight against Christ. Read.
And the Lamb shall overcome them.
And Christ will destroy them. We all know this. Read.
For he is Lord of lords and King of kings.
Go ahead.
And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Verse 15.
Why? Because the dead in Christ shall rise first and be a part of Christ's army. And the angels and his host of the heavens will come back with him to judge the 10 horns. Read.
Verse 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues.
That's the whore, made out of every nation, kindred, and tongue. We know that's America. Read.
Verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore.
They shall hate the whore. So Europe really don't love America. They're promoting America as the bad guy to be destroyed. They shall hate the whore, read.
And shall make her desolate.
How do they make her desolate? Through the Federal Reserve and through debt. Done destroyed the country inside out. Done imploded it. Totally broke country now. And shipped all the jobs on the outside of the country. And what made the country great? Its industrial complex. So now, through NAFTA and these other agreements, which were an actual plan of the EU to rape America from the inside out. And do what?
And naked, shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh.
And shall eat her flesh. That means slowly but surely tear her apart. That's what's going on now. No jobs, storms, earthquakes, FEMA. Now there's as much military and police as there are civilians. What they're preparing for is a destruction of Babylon. Read.
And burn her with fire.
And that's the end result. The legislation and the PR they given on America is going to have America bare and naked to be destroyed when the missiles come. So there will be no defense. Okay? And again, this is before the coming of Christ. Let's go back to 2nd Esdras. Go ahead.
Verse 17. For the Most High have put in their hearts to fulfill his will.
Because the Most High put that in their minds to do that. See that? He made them jealous of the power of America. And when you go around the world, America is hated by everyone. Everyone. Rued.
And to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled.
Until the words of the Most High be fulfilled. Until what we've just read is totally fulfilled. So this must be fulfilled. Babylon must be destroyed, and then the power will go to Edom and Rome again. The British monarchy and all of them, they're going to go back into Germania because London and all those areas will be a sacrifice also. So they'll go back to where they were, the 10 horns. And they're going to establish their empire from Germania again, under the EU, from Belgium again, from all those areas which was ancient Rome. From Rome again. See that? So when we say over and over again that America will not be in existence when Christ returns, the scriptures tell you this. All right? So the Most High is using these instructions to what? To move his people out of the way. To get them out of the way. And through circumstance and these destructions, the Most High with the angels will guide his people into safe havens as pilgrims until we're all in the wilderness together. Right? Finish reading. Go back to 2nd Esdras.
2nd Esdras chapter 16, verse 14. Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be poured out till it
shall not be put out.
Shall not be put out.
Yeah.
Salakia, till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. Woe is me, woe is me.
Woe means destruction. Go ahead.
Who will deliver me in those days?
And we're going to show you who's going to deliver us. Read.
Verse 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come?
And that's a question we all have. What will we do knowing it's coming? Read.
Verse 19. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment.
So this is what the Most High is using as an amendment. He's using this to appease himself and appease God's people for what the nations have done against us. This is how the Most High make amends, all the destruction you see. Now I'm going to show you how Satan did this in reverse to make you not believe in God. He started teaching inside his institutions that the Lord is all love and do nothing bad, doesn't allow anything wrong. So when you see something that happens bad, you'll say, well, there must not be a God. Because the God that I've learned of will not allow this to happen. That's how he tricked you with this love trip. All right. Finish reading. I'm reading out of the Apocrypha. Go ahead.
2nd Ezra chapter 16 verse 20.
Yes.
But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges.
So even though these things are going down right as we speak, a lot of our people, a lot of them, the majority of them, talking about 9 out of 10, will just ignore it and just think that all these things are normal and continue to do the things they've been doing. Not seeing that this is the end of this world. Not seeing that Christ will soon return. Not seeing the landmass they're on will soon be destroyed. Read.
2nd Ezra 16:21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth.
And this is why everyone think it's fine. Because you can go into a dollar store, go into this store, that store, and get something cheap. How can this be in the end of the world when I'm looking on television and Macy's have a sale? JCPenney has a sale. Okay? So victuals shall be cheap. That means you can go and get stuff cheaply. So the Lord tell you at the very end, he's going to make things seem normal. Read.
That they shall think.
They shall think.
Themselves to be in good case.
You're going to think of everything fine because you can go buy a nice jacket cheap, nice pair of boots. You can get your hair done or whatever cheaply. Get your nails done cheaply. You can get a car. Can't afford the car, but you can go in there with a couple of $100 and walk out with a car. You're going to think that everything is fine. Read.
And even then shall evils grow upon earth.
And while you're doing this, looking at the news, you're going to see things getting worse and worse and ignore it. Why? You're getting caught up into these cheap things. You're getting caught up into the lifestyles of this world. As a diversion, you're going to look at TV and see things are getting worse. You're going to be outside looking at people running around like zombies. And you're not going to perceive. Why? Because you can still go shop and do things. As long as you can do the things you've been doing, you think destruction will never come. It will never affect me. That's the spirit Satan have us in right now. The world. It can never hit me, but you always be mindful. Thank the Most High to have a good day when you wake up and that the Most High is blessing you, giving you breath. But the reality is we must embrace the fact that soon our days is not going to be like this. And prepare our minds to say, well, okay, when it change, I'm going to be ready for it. Okay? Finish reading.
And even then shall evils grow upon earth.
Go ahead.
Sword, famine, and great confusion. Verse 22.
Great confusion. And we know the Most High, like it says in 2nd Ezra 15, is not the author of confusion. So Satan will abound. He will abound. Now people don't know whether to go left, right, up or down, who to worship, what to do. They don't know what's the truth. There's so many different religions and so many, they don't know what. Total confusion, right? Finish reading.
Verse 22. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. Verse 24. There shall be no man left to till the earth, and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men, so that one shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. Verse 28. For of a city there shall be left 10, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks.
Now these numbers are paramount, because when you go into the scriptures, when you look in Matthews, when it says one shall be ground in mill and one shall be taken in the other left, 2 brothers shall be in the bed, or 2 shall be in the bed, one shall be left and one shall be taken. It's showing you how it's going to happen through the plagues. Those that understand what's going on, you're going to look up a family member going to be gone, not raptured, but they're going to be leaving outside of the destruction. That's what it's talking about, the angels directing them out during the time of Christ or the coming of Christ. It's not speaking of you sitting there and one person just disappears like they're teaching in the rapture. It's connected to the plagues. And you notice all this information is in the Apocrypha, 14 books that the Protestants, under the orders of the Roman Catholic Church, make you thinking that they're separate, took out of the King James Version Bible on purpose. So that you can believe in a fairy tale, make you believe that you're going to be sitting somewhere and disappear if you've been a good person. All right? This is showing you how the angels are going to guide us out of the plagues and what we'll be going through. But the Spirit of the Lord is going to direct us. Thoughts are going to come into our mind. It's going to be angels directing us where to go and what to do. It's going to be a thought. You're going to be like, okay, y'all get y'all stuff. Let's go. It's going to be a thought. It's going to be the right thought because the angels will put that thought in your mind. This is how we went through plagues before. When we ran out of Israel in 70 AD when the Romans destroyed us. The Most High didn't pick us up and take us someplace, but we took heed to Christ's word. When he told us, when you see the desolation is nigh, when you see the armies, when you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, you flee into the wilderness. So when you see a high occupation of military, that's the warning. When you see the answer to every problem is military. When you see this, know that that's a sign, right? Going back to my original premise, there will be two in the same place and the Most High will left. He says there will be 10 left of a city. Not only from the plagues, others leaving and going to into different places. And I'm going to show that too. Read it.
Verse 29. As in an orchard of olives, upon every tree there are left 3 or 4 olives. Whereas when a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns.
Read the 31st verse again.
Verse 31. Even so in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword.
That search their houses with the sword. And what's the modern day sword? Guns, weapons. So there's going to be some people coming through your house checking to see what's going on in there. That's the time we're coming into, right? Read it.
Verse 32. And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel therethrough. Verse 33. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The woman shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Hear now these things, and understand them, ye servants of the Most High Ahiah. Behold the word of the Most High Ahiah. Receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Most High Ahiah spake.
See that? So one key way of escaping this is not believing the religions of the world. Don't believe in these gods who are established in these religions. That's part of the confusion. Read.
Verse 37. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son.
That's Jacob's trouble right there. Read.
Within 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall not mourn. And the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. O my people.
Who?
O my people.
So through all this, the Most High is trying to get a certain people to recognize or hear his voice through the plagues. O my people, the people that believe in me, not these other people out here. Read.
Hear my word. Make you ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth.
Be ready to deal with what you have on your back and the things you prepared to run when it's time. Period. Be like pilgrims. You notice the Most High showed the so-called Arab Spring in the beginning of the 16th verse. He's showing you all the things to see before it's time to get on your feet. Take it down one country at a time, and you notice there's some resistance in Syria right now, but Syria is going to fall. Okay, and then after Syria, they're going to point to Iran. Once they're in war with Iran, that's really it. And being able to travel freely, easy. We're going to get to one point to the next, you understand, regardless. But to be able to travel freely is the opportunities are now. Because it's going to be harder traveling when we are in the midst of a world war. We're coming into the midst of a world war. Okay? Read.
2 Ezra 16:41. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose.
Now, I just wanted to go there because someone asked me through a mail, where do it show them countries being taken down over in the Middle East, Egypt and different places? And I said, chronological order, it's in the scriptures. Ancient Iraq was Babylon. It showed Babylon. Okay, now the daughter of Babylon is going to get dealt with separately, and I'm going to show you that. Right? Now let's go to Amos 9 and 7. 9 and 8. Amos 9 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
And let's get Jeremiah the 30th chapter. And I got you holding something else, right? Isaiah 31?
Isaiah, I believe it's 13.
13 and 31?
Yeah.
All right, let's hold that. But get me Jeremiah 30. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. 21 first.
Jeremiah 30.
Okay.
And get Amos 9 and 7 first. Excuse me. Let's get Jeremiah 30. You have it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's go.
Named Amos, chapter 9, verse 8. Behold, the eyes of the Most High Ahiah are upon the sinful kingdom.
Read it again.
Behold, the eyes of the Most High Ahiah are upon the sinful kingdom.
When it says the eyes of the Lord, it's talking about his angels. They're his eyes. Read.
And I will destroy it from off the face of the earth.
And we know that sinful kingdom is speaking of is America. There's no kingdom more sinful than America. Okay? That would give gay rights, that would look to destroy families and give homosexuals rights and have them adopt children to make alternative families, to cut off the Godhead existence within the earth. Father, mother, child. Okay? And to teach immorality throughout all their creations, and everything, not create, but everything they invent becomes inventions to destroy God's creation. Eugenics and poison in the food, poison in the water, GMOs, poison in the animals. So the Most High says the eyes of the Lord are upon the sinful kingdom. Read it again.
And I will destroy it from off the face of the earth.
He says, I will destroy this place from off the face of the earth. Now, hold that and read the 4th verse to show you why the Most High is going to do this.
Verse 4. And though they go into captivity before their enemies.
Now, we went into captivity before our enemies. We were sold through slave ships, Deuteronomy 28. Even though the nations would like to deny that the Israelites are us. We're the people that went into captivity. To prove to you, this is our Bible. And the Most High was speaking to us here in Amos. Okay, there was no Chinese people that went into captivity under other nations. There was no European Romans who went into captivity under any nations. There was no Arabs that went into captivity under other nations as a nation. It was only us. Read.
And though they go into captivity before their enemies, Thence will I command the sword,
Thence will he command the sword. What sword? The sword we showed you in Ezra 16. The destruction of all these different empires. Go ahead.
and it shall slay them,
And it shall destroy them. Read.
and I will set my eyes upon them for evil and not for good.
And he'll set his eyes on them for evil and not for good. Read.
Verse 5. And the Most High Ahiah of hosts is he that toucheth the land, and it shall melt, and all that dwell therein shall mourn, and it shall rise up wholly like a flood, and shall be drowned as by the flood of Egypt,
And shall be what?
and shall be drowned as by the flood of Egypt.
There go the waters again. Read.
Verse 6. It is he that buildeth his stories in the heaven, and hath founded his troop in the earth.
Now I need you to go back to Amos 9 and 8.
Verse 8. Behold, the eyes of the Most High Ahiah are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth.
Go ahead.
Saving, I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Most High.
And I shall what?
Saving, that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord.
So even though he's going to do much destruction, the Most High have a remnant of his people that's following Christ that will not be destroyed through all this. So we shouldn't fear. I want to show you something else. You notice how they're meticulously based. I'm talking about the Western world in these different countries. Why? After America's destroyed, all these bases will be controlled under NATO and the UN to continue eradicating our people through eugenics. So it don't stop. So the world don't stop once America is dealt with. Now that brings us here politically to this so-called election that was here the other day. When I told y'all a couple of weeks ago, I said years ago, listen, you don't have to worry about it. Barack Obama is the last guy. You don't have to worry about nothing else for that place. He's the guy. He's everything they needed to keep our people still before they destroy us over there and abroad. Okay, because once America is taken out of the way, he'll still survive. Don't forget, he's one of the chairmen on the UN's board. So he's going to flee back to the areas in which he came from. He's under the CIA. He's going to be with the UN. Even after America is dealt with, he will still be operating. They tell you that in Daniel the 11th chapter. Okay? He was placed there for a purpose. It's to keep our people still while they destroy us. But they will not utterly destroy us. Read.
Verse 9. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations.
See that?
Like as corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth.
So those that are chosen to be in the Most High's hand will not fall to the earth, which means he will save a remnant. Read.
Verse 10. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword.
And that's why he's sending the destruction, because the sinners of God's people will be destroyed through this too. That's those who don't want to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments. Bringing us into religion now and pointing to religion. How can Christians teach you that you can sin and do what you want to do and Christ cover every sin you do on purpose? To prove to you that the churches were set up to have us sin willfully without repentance. What is sin? 1 John 3 and 4. Let's go there real quick. To show what sin is.
1 John chapter 3 verse 4. Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law.
So that's in the New Testament. You can't say the law is done away with. When John says, he that committeth sin, do what?
Transgresseth also the law.
You're transgressing the law that was given to our forefathers in the Bible. Read.
For sin is the transgression of the law.
What is sin?
For sin is the transgression of the law.
That is what sin is. Transgression of the law. And what do it say about sinners?
Amos chapter 9 verse 10.
Go ahead.
All the sinners of my people
Of Israel.
shall die by the sword.
That's crystal clear.
Which say, the evil shall not overtake.
And that's what our people say. Well, I know it's happening, but nothing is going to happen to us. That's a sin too. Ignoring the prophecies of the Most High. Saying that, okay, I see all the destructions coming, but I'm going to continue what I'm doing. It's not going to touch me. All right. Read on.
The evil shall not overtake nor prevent us.
Go ahead.
Verse 11. And that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old.
That means he's bringing Judah and Israel together again as one. Not just the Negro tribes, not just the Negroes and the West Indians and the Haitians. No. The people over there in South America, the North American Indians, the people over there in South Pacific, all of us will be together as one nation again. The kingdom was split under Solomon after Solomon's sin. But the Most High is going to tear down, through Christ, he's tearing down that middle wall of partition so that we don't go against each other no more, so that we can love each other like we did as brethren and as sisters before the fall of Solomon. Read.
Verse 12. That they may possess the remnant of Edom, and of all the heathen which are called by my name.
So that Israel may possess the remnant. There's going to be a small remnant of Edom and other nations who are what?
Which are called by my name.
These are all the Gentiles that accept Christ. See, and that's why the Most High put the Spirit on Paul to go and teach the Gentiles. Because they will make it too. Just a remnant. Now, the remnant is a small number. Because the majority of Gentiles don't want to follow truth. They want to continue in this world and upholding the powers of this world. And I'm talking about people outside of the children of Israel. Asians are still out there worshiping the dragon and dealing with worshiping Buddha. You got Arabs still over in the Middle East worshiping Allah and worshiping Ra. Okay? But there's a small remnant out of all nations that's going to find Christ and acknowledge the God of the Hebrews, Ahia. Read.
Verse 13. Behold, the days come, saith the Most High, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the treader of grapes him that sows seed. And the mountains shall drop sweet wine, and all the hills shall melt. And I will bring again the captivity of my people.
And I will bring again the captivity of my people. Who?
Of Israel.
Now the people in Israel today aren't in captivity. So how are they fulfilling that prophecy in 1948? When he says, I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel. I'm going to get my people who are enslaved out of captivity and bring them back. You can't use the Holocaust scenario for this. All right? This is talking about a people who was sold to the other nations. Who were they? They're us. Read.
And they shall build the waste cities.
And the waste cities shall be built. Okay, by the hands of the majority of the Gentiles. So we can have 1,000 years of peace. That's what's going to happen. There's nothing wrong with that. Why? You're working now, and we getting nothing out of this empire, and you're working. So what's wrong with a little work? Read.
And they shall build the waste cities and inhabit them.
And shall inhabit them. Read.
And they shall plant vineyards and drink the wine thereof. They shall also make gardens and eat the fruit of them. And I will plant them upon their land, and they shall no more be poured up out of their lands, which I have given them, saith the Most High by power.
So once we're in Israel, we will no longer, ever go into captivity again. Period. Now, I don't think it's no coincidence right now in Israel that they're looking at doing ethnic cleansing over there to eradicate all black people out of Israel. The same time they stopping and destroying the Palestinians. I'm talking about the Jewish Romans who are over there today. I don't think that's a coincidence. They're doing the same thing over in Israel that they sent the so-called Al-Qaeda into Libya to do, to exterminate us. But when the Most High allow this war to go down and have this happen, eventually there's light at the end of the tunnel for us. We will go into the land, plant vineyards. It's going to be nice and sweet. And the Most High said that we will never get plucked up out of our land again. Ever. And so that's something positive to look forward to. I know you see the doom, gloom, earthquakes and all that, but this is something we can look forward to. Okay? The Most High will again reveal the tree of life to us. Total nourishment. We will never grow old. We'll stay strong the rest of our lives. We're going to live 1,000 years in total peace and never grow old after we get nourished. Okay, it's going to be like finding what they call the fountain of youth. There's not going to be no old people in the kingdom, not one. Everyone is going to revert back to the time of their height and be beautiful. So we have something to look forward to. It's going to be wonderful, but we must get through this trouble first. Let's go to Jeremiah, the 30th chapter.
Jeremiah chapter 30.
Go ahead.
Verse 1. The word that came to Jeremiah from the Most High, saying, Thus speaketh the Most High Ahiah, the power of Israel, saying, Write thee all the words that I have spoken unto thee in a book. For lo, the days come, saith the Most High, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith the Most High. And I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it.
Exactly. We're going back to the land of our fathers. Who's our fathers? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay? America is not our land. Okay, we're going back to Israel. That's our land. Read.
Verse 4. And these are the words that the Most High spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah.
Go ahead. When it says Israel and Judah, some people might ask, well, isn't Judah an Israelite? Well, you have to realize, for those who don't know, we showed in a prior class in 2 Kings 17 how Israel was split after the sins of Solomon in 721. So the Indian tribes that went into the Americas are predominantly called Israel. And Judah is the tribes that stayed up until the time of 70 AD. They were there during crisis time. They were in the southern kingdom. Judah, which is the Negro, Benjamin, which is the Jamaicans, and Levi, which is the modern day Haitians, who are the priests. Levi are the priests. All right, and they're catching hell over there in Haiti. But the Most High is lifting the spirit of a lot of Levites all over the earth, and they're coming back. And let me tell you, the powers of this earth fear Levi coming back, because when they tap into the Most High, there's something different. And there's no weapon that can, because they deal on a spiritual level, on a high spiritual level. Okay. And right now they're doing it under Satan, but this world fears them operating with the Most High and praying to the Most High, as was Moses and Aaron. They're afraid of that. But they're waking up. Our people are waking up of Levi. They're putting down the witchcraft. They're putting down the sorcery. And they're coming back to a higher. Okay? You're going to see them praying, and the angels are going to just be materializing and tearing stuff down. This is what they are afraid of. Finish reading.
Jeremiah 30 and 5. For thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling and of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man doeth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hand on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for the day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it.
But he shall be saved out of it. Yeah, we're in trouble, but the Most High has prophecies, and he's showing us how he's going to save us. He's going to tear things down, and through that, he's going to be giving us a pathway to protection. It's going to show you, read.
Verse 8, for it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Most High of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him.
We will not be used by the other nations once the Most High break our captivity. What is he using to break our captivity? Wars. You can't have an empire without an army. You can't enslave us anymore if you don't have a military. Read.
Verse 9, but they shall serve the Most High their power.
Go ahead.
And David their king.
When it says David their king, it's speaking of Christ, who will sit on the throne of David. So I know a lot of people go into this and think that this is David. Okay, hold this and get a precept, so that, because I know when people read that, sometimes they look at it, hold up, that David? Hold that and get Acts 2, 28 and 29. Acts 2 and 29.
The book of Acts, chapter 2, verse 29.
Go ahead.
Men and brethren, let me speak unto you of the patriarch David, that he is both dead and buried, and his sepulchre is with us unto this day.
His grave is with us till this day. Go ahead.
Therefore, being a prophet, and knowing that the Most High had sworn with an oath to him, that of the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh,
which is Christ,
he would raise up Christ to sit on his throne.
He would raise up who?
He would raise up Christ to sit on his throne.
So this prophecy of David is speaking of Christ through the oath that was given to David. So when you see this David, it's speaking of our king that came through David's loins, Christ. All right. Read.
Jeremiah 39. 30 and 9. But they shall serve the Most High their power, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them.
Go ahead.
Therefore fear not thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Most High power. Neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid.
And when it says he shall save, of course, we showed you in Amos where it says he shall sift. And that percentage that will be in his hand is that 10%. So when he says save, all of Israel, which means every living Israelite on the earth, will not be saved through this. 90% of us will not make it through. The 10% that comes back to the law, statutes, and commandments will make it through. Right? Read.
Verse 11. For I am with thee, saith the Most High power, to save thee. Though I make a full end of all nations.
He will make a full end of all nations. That means every nation that's established with the government will be thrown down. Read.
Though I will make a full end of all nations whither I have scattered thee.
Every place I've scattered you, I'm going to tear down. This is what the Most High is saying. Every nation that have enslaved God's people and separated them and lied to them, he's going to recompense. He's going to make an amendment. He's going to judge them. And see, that's why we tell brothers and sisters, there's no need for us to curse people out, call people names, and say and fight and get up weaponry and all that to go against people. Vengeance is the Most High's. And when we start going against and speaking against other people and trying to fight other people and all that and pick up arms, we're actually getting in the way of the Most High's judgment. And now he began to war with you. Okay, we are not to deal with trying to pass judgment on the nations. That's not our part. That's the Most High's part. We just speak the gospel and let everyone know the kingdom is at hand. That Israel need to come back to the Father so that we can make it through this. Okay? We don't speak against no other nations. We don't curse other nations. And we don't try to fight other nations. We don't pick up arms against the nations. The only thing we do is read the Bible and look to follow the law, statutes, and commandments and gather the children of Israel and make them aware of this time. Read.
Yet will I not make a full end of thee.
Yet will I not make a full end of thee. Read.
But I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. For thus saith the Most High Power, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous. There is none to plead thy cause.
There's no one to plead the children of Israel's cause. To show you there's no one representing us in the earth. And that's why all the people who believe that their vote counted with Barack Obama. Okay? And then everyone becomes a political analyst around this time. You see people coming from the corner with a bag with a 40 in it, talking about, yeah, well, I don't like Romney's policies. Okay, now everyone becomes a political analyst during this time of year. Well, you know, you got to go Barack Obama because of this, because of that. And let me tell you, brothers and sisters, all of them are criminals. Every last one of them. And you got our people with our mind mentally invested in this man. We're mentally invested in Barack Obama. And the scriptures tell you there's no one to plead our cause. Every meeting this guy is in is a meeting on how much more destruction he can do against us. Every meeting this guy is in is to destroy us. That's what he was placed there for. If you don't believe me, go look up this Satanist called Margaret Sanger, the mother of eugenics. Margaret Sanger. She came up with the full program. She was down with Aleister Crowley, all these Satanists, and say, listen, these black people are like weeds. We must pull them from the roots. We must empower the women against the man so that they don't have children. We must kill their babies. And we must use the orators and the prestigious amongst their people and put them in place to bring forth our agenda. We cannot do this because we are a threat to them. But if we can cultivate one of theirs and make them a great leader or put them in high positions as doctors, lawyers, as presidents, if we can put them in position, then we'll have them destroy themselves. He will just push our agenda. Barack Obama have embodied all of that. Okay? And anyone they couldn't use, they have destroyed. Okay? And Farrakhan have embodied that too. Don't forget, he was right there when our brother Malcolm was killed. He wrote the article that allowed our brother Malcolm to die. Okay, and he was a CIA plant the whole time. And he's still dealing with Scientology and all that. And he's a top Mason. He's a Druid. And you notice he started backing his brother Barack Obama at the very end. This is not a political scenario I'm talking about here. I'm just showing you how the scriptures say there's no one who really plead our cause. Why? How can you plead a cause of the people without telling them who they are? You can't say, you can't go to the government and say, you know, Pharaoh, these are the children of Israel. We got to treat them a certain type of way. They're God's people. No. No, they're not given no preferential treatment as God's people to us, no place in the earth. They're not allowing us to serve our God. You see that? They're backing the Romans. They're claiming that the Jewish people need support. The Jewish people should be upheld as God's people. But there's no one to plead our cause. I see our people. I seen Jay-Z on one, I don't want to go too far off, but I seen Jay-Z on one commercial talking about speaking against anti-Semitism, him and Russell Simmons. Anti-Semitism? What about our Holocaust? Who pleading our cause? They even got our people defending those who have destroyed us. Finish reading.
Jeremiah 30:13. There is none to plead thy cause.
There's none to plead our cause. Read.
That thou mayest be bound up, that thou hast no healing medicines. All thy lovers have forgotten thee. They seek thee not. For I have wounded thee with the wound of an enemy, with the chastisement of a cruel one, for the multitude of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased.
And the Most High did this because we sinned against them and our forefathers sinned against them in the past. Read.
Verse 15. Why criest thou for thine affliction?
So why are you crying that you've been brought so low? So Most High put affliction and say, why are you crying? Isn't this what you wanted? I gave you everything and you still are following the gods of the other nations. How can you be a Catholic? How can you be a Baptist? How can you be a Roman Catholic? How can you be a Muslim? How can you follow the Arabs? So the Most High is like, how can I help you when you're looking to serve the other nations? So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to afflict you. That's what's going on with our people today. We're being afflicted. Even back then, we wanted to follow the God of the Arabs, the Asians, the Hamites, the Egyptians. Read.
Why criest thou for thine affliction?
So why are you crying, Israel? Why are you crying about things ain't working out for you? I need a better job. I need more food. I need housing. Why are you crying? Ain't this what you wanted? The Most High gave us everything and protected us. And we said, well, no, I want to deal with that God. I want to go over there and deal with the God of the Canaanites. I want to see what the Egyptians are doing. I want to see what the Arabs are doing. Our God was not good enough for us. So he said, since you're going to put a no God for me, I will place up a no people for you. That's Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter. You want to put a no God for me? I will put a no people for you. Read.
Thy sorrow is incurable for the multitude of thine iniquity. Because thy sins were increased,
Go ahead.
I have done these things unto you. Therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thy adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity.
And every one of them shall what?
Shall go into captivity.
But now the Most High is now turning the tide. Why? Because the nations went beyond what they were supposed to do. We were already taken down by our God. It's like, no, I got some other stuff for you. I'm going to start turning your little children into sodomites. I'm going to make them into the children of Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm going to start separating your children and having your children become little harlots and sell them for wine and just separate them and treat them like they're nothing. I'm going to separate them from their families and sell them to other people to be totally destroyed. And I'm going to make truffles, whole truffles of nothing but pork, and starve you out and just have you eat chitlins and raw pig and just total abomination. I'm going to make it a delicacy for your people. This is what they did. So the Most High said, okay, it's enough. I took my spirit away from them. And and allowed you to put them in captivity. But you've went too far. You all went overboard. And mind you, I was speaking to God the other day, and he was telling me that he went to a conference where this brother was speaking, this so-called Egyptologist that was speaking in Egypt. And he said the brother packed the place in the UK and was speaking a bunch of madness until, then they asked, well, who had questions? And Gaja came up with his Mitri on it. He had questions. They ended up putting Gaja out, taking a mic from him. But he asked, he's like, Egypt, we were so great in Egypt. The brother's like, yeah, we were the greatest. He's like, you spoke for hours of how great we were. Well, what happened to us? If we had all these things you're mentioning and we were so great, how can we be so low now? How could the other nations have overtaken us if we were so great? And the guy had no answers. He had no answers. He was just there telling us how great and what empire we ruled in Egypt, not even knowing that it was us during the Hyksos, during the height of Egypt, running everything under Joseph and his brothers during the Hyksos period. Everything great in Egypt was the children of Israel before we became a nation under the Hyksos period. And the historians lie and hide the fact that they were the children of Israel and call us in history books Hyksos, which means shepherd kings. But Gaja asked the brother the question and said, well, if we were so great and no one could fight against us, and we had the greatest ingenuity, greatest technology, best weapons, what happened? And the brother had no answer. Well, how did the nations come into Africa and take us into captivity? Had no answer. So they talk about this African empowerment and all that. But doesn't that make you wonder, how can you be so powerful and have nothing now? Don't you want to figure out what happened that relegated us to nothing, to welfare and all these other nothings? They don't have the answer. Why? Because if they had the answer, they would have to come back to these people walked away from their God. These people began to serve other gods, and the Most High took his hedge off of them for a time. That would go back to the Bible. If they really researched why we fell, it was because of our God. It wasn't because of how great the nations were. It took a spiritual phenomenon for the nations to take us down. They could not touch us. The Most High took our courage. He broke us for a time. Okay? But the nations went beyond. They went beyond the things that they were supposed to do. Then they lied to us and called us Gentiles and told us we were nothing, and our history doesn't matter. Serve, you slave. You shouldn't wonder who you are. You a slave. Serve, you slave. That's what you do. Well, I have a Bible here, and I want to know who I am out of the Bible. You Ham, okay? That's who you is. You non-existent. Okay? They never told us, all the time, no one cleaved to the Bible like us. They never told us that these people were our foreparents, that we were actually the children of Israel. Something in our soul, something in our spirit was crying out for it, and we knew it. When I figured this out, you know what? I said, you know what? Now I understand the Bible. It all made sense when I figured out that we were the people. I understood this Bible on a whole nother level once I could relate myself to the book. What verse you left off there?
Verse 16.
Read it.
Therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured.
All they that devoured us shall be devoured. That's the wars you see in the earth today. They're being devoured. Read.
And all thine adversaries, every one of them,
all the people that hate us
shall go into captivity.
Shall do what?
Shall go into captivity.
They're going down. Why? Galatians 6 and 7. What goes around comes around. Be not dismayed. God is not mocked. A man reapeth whatever he sows. So that's where we're going at here. Every nation that have enslaved Israel will build the kingdom. The earth will have total peace. Read.
And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil.
And those that spoiled us shall be a spoil. And see, that's why I don't sit back and feel sorry for what's going on over the Middle East and feel sorry. Listen, it must fall. And see, Satan done tricked the European powers over there to believe that they'll be able to take advantage of the whole earth after its fall. No. Because no sooner as you get finished fighting against these other countries, what happens? Christ enters this atmosphere and take you down. So you're not going to have the peace you think you'll have. The EU and the UN and all that. No. Read on.
Verse 17.
Go ahead.
For I will restore health unto thee.
For I will restore health unto thee. And what?
And I will heal thee of thy wounds.
And I will heal, because the Most High put the wounds on us. He made us bare. He destroyed us. He allowed the nation to take us. So only He can heal us. Only He can heal us. No politician can heal us. Okay? Let me tell you, I would rather have Satan himself in the White House. At least I know who's attacking me. Then I would rather that guy y'all claim y'all voted in. At least you know it's the devil standing there. Okay? At least you understand, okay, there's a threat sitting there. But somebody with a nice smile and sitting there with his legs crossed on the Jay Leno show. You're looking at this guy like, listen, he's so eloquent. Listen, hey, you're going to find out what he is very soon. Very soon. No, let me tell you, we haven't been 1 weekend and already drones done flew over Iran. They done shot down a drone in Iran, and now they've cut off internet access to the world with Iran. Iran can't even do business throughout the world right now, scrambling because now America, under this legislation he just signed, cut off their communications and their internet. Haven't been a couple of days yet. Already you in a war. You understand? He done signed all types of stuff in the legislation. And he just, the election just happened. So I'm going to tell you, brothers and sisters, now let me tell you, he's a boulder coming downhill now. Why? The election is over. He don't care about it no more. This is it. Finish reading what you have there.
Verse 17.
Go ahead.
For I will restore health unto thee.
Go ahead.
And I will heal thee of thy wounds.
What verse are you at?
Verse 17.
Okay, one moment. One moment. Okay. 1 second. Verse 17.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, read where you left off at there.
Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 17.
31 and 17. Go ahead.
That's the middle of verse 17.
Go ahead.
Because they called thee an outcast, saying.
Because they did what?
Because they called thee an outcast.
This is why the Most High are going to go deal with these other nations. They begin to call Israel an outcast.
Saying, this is Zion, whom no man seeketh after.
Here's God's people, but no man is actually helping them. No man is actually seeking after them. Look at God's people. This is Zion and what?
Whom no man seeketh after.
Whom no man is looking to help. See, that's why Christ had to come. The Most High had to send his son. No man was looking to get Israel out of his condition. They're looking to keep us still and destroy us. Read.
Verse 18. Thus saith the Most High Power, behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tents.
I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tent. So if you want to know who Israel is, you must first look to the people who went into captivity. who was enslaved and taken down by the conquistadors, by Rome. Look at those people all over the earth. They are the children of Israel. And I did some research today for those who didn't know earlier. I come to find out the people in Afghanistan, that's where they placed us once the Indian tribes fell, the Northern Kingdom fell in 721 BC. We were in the land of Afghanistan first, before they went into the Americas. So it's no wonder they have a base in Afghanistan now. Read.
The middle of verse 18.
Go ahead.
And have mercy on his dwelling places, and the city shall be builded upon her own heap, and the palace shall remain after the manner thereof.
Go ahead.
And out of them shall proceed thanksgiving, and the voice of them that make merry. And I will multiply them, and they shall not be few. I will also glorify them, and they shall not be small. Their children also shall be as aforetime, and their congregation shall be established before me, and I will punish all that oppress them. And their nobles shall be of themselves, and their governors shall proceed from the midst of them.
That means we will have no more elections where we're voting all these different people over us. It says right here, read that again, and their nobles
shall be of themselves.
We're going to have our own government with our own people. How can you vote a people over you without your interests? How can you vote a people or a government in a government that's against you? Okay? Read that part again.
Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 21. And their nobles shall be of themselves.
Of themselves.
And their governors shall proceed from the midst of them. And I will cause him to draw near, and he shall approach unto me. For who is this that engaged his heart to approach unto me, saith the Most High?
Read on.
Verse 22. And ye shall be my people, and I will be your power.
It says, and you shall be my people, and I will be your God. And I will be your God, showing you the God that you were with before the Most High wasn't the true God. When we were enslaved, brothers and sisters, another God was delivered to us. Yes, we have the Bible, but the God of the Bible was not delivered to us. Satan was using the Bible with himself at the apex. Yes, he gave us the Bible, but he was using doctrines of devils to deceive us so that we'll believe that he was God instead of the God of the Bible. He took all credit. Read.
Verse 23. Behold, the whirlwind of the Most High go forth with fury, a continual whirlwind. It shall fall with pain upon the head of the wicked. The fierce anger of the Lord shall not return until he have done it, and until he have performed the intents of his heart. In the latter days ye shall consider it.
And in the latter days our people shall consider it. And we're in the latter days now, showing you that there's no separation between what's going on politically in the earth and God's people. I know you're looking at these events and can't put it together. We're trying to help you put it together. We're in the coming of our Lord and Savior. And also, we're looking to be protected through these troubles. We're looking to be moved from amongst these governments on the way of the Most High allowing us to govern ourselves. Let me show you this. Let's go into this, show them where the river shall be smited. When we're in the wilderness. That's one thing I forgot to pull out. You in Isaiah 11, right?
Mm-hmm. Isaiah chapter 11, verse... Isaiah... no.
Okay, go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 11, verse 15.
Go ahead.
And the Lord shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea. And with his mighty wind he shall shake his hand over the river,
And when it says the tongue of the Egyptian sea, the tongue of the Egyptian sea is actually Sharm el-Sheikh. That's where it is today. Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt is the tongue of the sea. When you look at the Red Sea on your way to Israel, you will see a tongue there. And that's Sharm el-Sheikh. That's where we walked before. That's where we were in Egypt. Read. And it's no wonder Israel, the land of Israel or the government of Israel today, own part of that particular area, knowing that we'll be there. The Most High through war will eventually move us in that area, just walking through when it's time. Read.
And with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river.
Go ahead.
And shall smite it into 7 streams.
And shall smite it into 7 streams.
And make men go over dry shod.
And we're going to walk over the water, dry land again, like when we came out of Egypt. See, and I'm showing you this is because this is a physical deliverance. This is us actually seeing the power of the Most High in the earth. Not us being beamed up someplace and placed somewhere. Okay? So when you look at the prophecies of Christ, when he talks about the angels reaping, it's the angels guiding his elect. Those that follow the law, statutes, and commandments. And guiding them into these prophecies. Okay? Read.
Verse 16. And there shall be an highway for the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria.
See?
Like as it was to Israel in the day that he came up out of the land of Egypt.
Crystal clear. See that? So there's going to be a highway there where our people can actually walk through. Why? At the end of these wars, there will be no stronghold that will hold us. And the Spirit is going to take that remnant that's left in all that area and start moving them towards that area. And we're going to be in the wilderness again. But it first begin with these wars you see. The wars you see in the earth today is actually the freedom of the children of Israel. The freedom of Zion is what we're beholding right now. Okay. Hope you all received some information there. Some key information in prophecy. I also wanted to say the radio show before I start answering questions. What was the guy named that came on something Pike? Some professional came on, or this professor or what have you came on the radio show this Wednesday. And he made a video about Khazaria, saying that the Jewish people are not the Jews, but they're from the Khazars. That's what his video was on YouTube. But when he came on the show and he was confronted with Hebrews, he changed his whole story. Everything changed. And he said, well, there was a Khazarian conversion, but then there was a migration of Jews into Khazaria after that. To show you that the deception, brothers and sisters, is on every level. They got people now who are now spinning the information based on the Jewish conversion, knowing that Arthur Koestler let the cat out of the bag. So now the Jewish people got professionals who will now admit that, yeah, they were Khazarians, but something else happened, and that's who the Jewish people are from today. But he was what you would call a disinfo agent. That's what he is. They claim they're against the Jews, but when you interrogate them to come down to, to really get to the bottom of it and say, well, okay, if these people are Khazarians and they're not Jews, then who the real Jews then? Where the Israelites at? But they're put in place to bring forth misinformation. And I've never seen a guy. God just sent me his videos, and Azariah sent me his videos, and I reviewed them. And this guy was going at the Jewish people like he wouldn't believe it. And on the surface, it looked like he was against what they were dealing with. But when you ask them questions, you see that they're not really against it. They're put in that position and claim they are against them so that they can be utilized for disinfo against us. And that's what happened. And I took him to Revelation, the 2nd chapter. Let's go to Revelation 2 real quick. For those who wasn't present during the time of the radio show, which is what, 5 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday. Read 2 and 9 on down.
Revelations.
This is the part that knocked him back a little bit. Read.
Revelations chapter 2, verse 9.
Go ahead.
I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich.
Go ahead.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not.
I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not. Read.
But are the synagogue of Satan.
But are the synagogue of Satan. Read on.
Verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison.
So these people who are set up and now are over the industrial prison complex. They're setting up prisons to throw God's people into. Read.
That ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days.
Go ahead.
Be thou faithful unto death.
That means even if they throw us in prison, be faithful to the truth, even unto death. Read.
And I will give thee a crown of life.
Go ahead.
And I will give thee
His name was Ted Pike. Yeah. Go ahead.
And I will give thee a crown of life. Verse 11. He that have an ear, let him hear.
Go ahead.
What the Spirit saith unto the churches. He that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death. And to the angel of the church in Pergamos write.
Now I stopped right there while he was on the radio and I asked him, where's Pergamos at, sir? Because not only was he Jewish, he was a pastor of a church. So I asked him, sir, where's Pergamos? Then he said, well, Eastern Europe, sort of like, I'm like, where? He's like, around Turkey. And I asked, okay, where was the Khazarian Empire at? He had to admit, Turkey. So how can he deny who the Khazars were when the Bible is identifying those which say they are Jews and are not? And now Christ is given a geographical location of where they were stationed. That was total silence when this came out. And I'm going to show you how they attempt to deceive people. Let's talk about Pergamos. Read.
These things saith he, which have the sharp sword with 2 edges. I know thy works, and where thou dwellest.
I know where you dwelleth.
Even where Satan's seat is.
So this is where Satan was ruling from. Khazar, which is Caesar. The same name as Caesar. What was the name of the people before they converted into Judaism? The serpent people. Satan was ruling from Khazaria during this time. And John is breaking it down. This is where their temples were to worship Satan. He couldn't deny that. So what did he do? He said, well, those people over there were Turkish. I'm like, yeah, the Jewish people play on both sides. They're Greek and Roman babies under Islam. They're still the same. They just play on both sides of the spectrum. They're your Roman Catholics and they're your Turks. They're still the same. He couldn't deny it. He scurried off and wanted to leave once he understood we knew. Right? Where Satan's seat is, read.
And thou holdest fast my name.
And thou holdest fast my name. The Romans were martyring our people even back then. Antipas, which was a Jew, an Israelite, a black Jew, was killed by them. They were operating back then. And I also, through a little persuasion, got him to admit that Herod was also an Edomite, pure stock of Edom. and to show you that they were ruling us during crisis time. Even the Pharisees were infiltrated, and the Edomites was ruling through the Pharisaical priesthood. So they infiltrated us, and once they fell in 193 AD, they changed themselves. They said, well, listen, we can't operate out in public through a political platform because everyone can see us. They'll destroy us if they know what we worship. So they switched themselves to the Roman Catholic Church and also began to rule politically and monetarily, opposed to bringing themselves forth as an empire or a people. That's how they was able to disguise themselves. But they really can't hide themselves because every place they go, they build Roman architecture and they bring forth the Roman gods. So how can you say these people are Jewish when every place they go, you don't see them setting up anything of Israel? Everything they set up is Roman. When even in the institutions, they're teaching your children what? Latin. Okay, so I just wanted to put that out there because these guys, they're disinfo characters who make videos and claim that they are against the Jewish people. He claimed that he's against what's going on in the Palestinians. I'm like, brother, with all this history you got the fuel to take them down by first admitting that they are imposters, and second, telling the world who the real Jews are. You know we're the real Jews. And right there, he had to leave. But I say all praises be to the Most High, that the truth is here. But how many of our people will cleave to the truth and stop these statements like it doesn't matter who we are and what we are? It does matter. It does matter. Because why? We are the children of Abraham. We are the children of Jacob. We're the children of Isaac. We're the children. We're the children of the prophets. That matters. We're the children of Israel. With that, I'm going to say shalom. I'll open this up for questions. Also, the radio show will be on 5 p.m. Eastern. You all are invited to come on through Blog Talk. And if you have any questions, of course, the questions have been getting answered lately through the email. We started to answer the questions. So if you have questions, we'd be more than happy to answer them. You send an email to gatheringas1@aol.com. All right. Before we pray out, let me answer a few questions here. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to unpause it.